Hello, Cadison. How are you?
Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. I think my
Ah,
computer might be not working.
not working. Hang on. I've got my volume on almost full. Is
Um,
that any better? No?
no,
Oh, okay. Um, I don't know what else.
I can hear you now.
You've got the controls. Well, that's technology for you. That's
Yeah.
what that's what we called the International College of Business and Technology,
Yeah.
because without technology, you can't have any business at all, can you?
No, not these days.
No. Ah, well, glad to meet you, Cadison. I do believe our office has been in touch and there's been back and forth emails and that sort of thing.
Yes,
I've been briefed on all that. Uh, it's just part of the process, I'm afraid.
of
Um,
course.
because everything we do is basically controlled by the ASQA, the Australia Quality Authority. Was it ASQA Quality, no, Australian Quality Standard Authority, right? Which basically um, everything that we do is recorded, and the system that we get you to access will be automatically recording everything. So actually, to the point that if you do an assessment and you can do an assessment three times, you can have a trial three times, but we ask you not to do the third one because if you do the third one and it's wrong, I can't even correct it. That's it.
Oh, goodness.
Finished. So what we do the first one. Say if you had say 18 questions in one assessment and you had two wrong, right? I would reply to you with some information on the two questions that are slightly wrong. Usually, it's a misunderstanding of the question more than actually the knowledge. We're not there to test you against a class or anything like this. We had someone the other day ask me, "Do I get 12 out of 20 or 14 out of 20?" I said, "No, it's a lot simpler than that. Either you're competent or you're not. And if you're not, you're not. That's it. That's the end." So when we assess the questions, um, basically the program says um, these are the possible answers, and then it's up to the assessor, which would be me in your case, to assess that what you said is correct. Now, the English language, being in such a language, is that
Oh, yeah.
you can say so many things in different words, and that's where a live assessor needs to be there to
Of course.
decipher uh, the English and whatever you. So uh, now all your training can be done online. And when you access the training, you can download straight to your laptop the learner's guide, two important documents. The learner's guide, which is a document of 30 to 50 pages um, on each subject. In this case, you're doing the BSB FIN 501, which is the finance one.
Yeah.
And then there is the other document is the student assessment booklet. They're the two documents that you can download to your computer, which means you don't have to access the internet all the time. You can read all the documents on your own. That's no problem without accessing the internet. When you have to submit a document, well, then you get on your portal on the internet and you submit it in there. You can get the manual uh, for the student assessment booklet. that we call it, but that was designed for the days where everything was done in writing. And of
Yep.
course, everything is more digital. So, uh, but we still use the same material. And basically, that's how we progress through things. I just wanted to share with you a copy of the learner's guide, the LG, the learner's guide, because there's a couple of things that I need to point out that will make your job a lot easier.
Yep.
So if you don't mind, I'll share that.
Of course.
I can find it. Student assessment booklet. That's not the one now. Oh, this is the one I want. All right. So let me see if I can share that. Right. Student assessment booklet. No, that's not the one I wanted. Oh, hang on. What's going on here? Let me close that. That's the one I want. Can you see this one?
Yep. Perfect.
Right. Okay. It's called the Learner's Guide or the LG. Um, Basically, it's the FIN 501, Manage Budgets and Financial Plans. Our material is all copyrighted, so we'll ask you to comply with the copyright agreement, which means basically don't share the material with anybody that is not part of the course,
Yep.
because basically people are paid for the material, and it's only fair that people get recompensed that way.
Yep.
So that's your quick copyright agreement at the beginning. And then about the learner's guide, it gives you a few little icons all right through the book. This is time to think about. This is a case study, example, etc. What I want to point out is this part here. Watch every so often through the material, you will have a little icon like this saying, watch this video. It's usually very short. It's only 1 or 2 minutes. It even tells you the time. And if you can't connect for some reason, you've got the URL here that you can cut and paste into your system, and you can watch it online. This is specifically for the subject on that page. So we don't waste your time with looking at everything. It's just specifically to that point on that page, and it's usually 2 or 3 minutes. And then, of course, you've got other resources that you can read if you want. Most people don't. I think they should, but that's a personal thing. You can drink a horse to water, but that's another thing.
That's it.
Get them to drink. So that's the way it is. But you also get when you get onto your program, you will also have another set of 2 or 3 or sometimes 4 lessons. It is the same subject done by someone else altogether different, and but it's addressing the same issues. And basically, it's a way to reinforce your learning by showing you another aspect of someone else doing it, basically. But you don't have to. ASQA is only concerned about the learner's guide, which I'm showing you here, and the student assessment booklet. And basically, the student assessment booklet is the Bible. It's not what I say, what anybody else says. It's what you've answered in the student assessment booklet and whether it complies with the requirement. Everything is competency based. So with everything that we teach you, there is a competency to be met at the back end. And basically, when it's met, according to the assessor, it's a tick. If it's a tick, it's a 1, which is a pass for that unit. No, not that unit, that assessment. Or if it's a not pass, it's a 0. And usually against that, you get a comment from the trainer saying, you need to think about this. You've misunderstood the question, and can you handle it from another angle? And there is a bit of a pointer. Now, we're not allowed to give you the answer.
Yep.
Imagine you've done it twice and you're still wrong, right? Actually, I had some students who keep making the same mistake. They end up saying, regarding the GST, they end up saying, yes, people requiring the GST must keep their documentation for 5 years, according to the Act of Parliament. And it is true. But also, in our training, we show that yes, 5 years is a general rule, but if you have material that, as a business, that has got a certain capital gain attached to it, so maybe a desk or a computer or a building even, then you would need to keep the documentation for another 2 years. It should be 7 years, not 5 years. But most people get this one wrong altogether. They say 5 years is fine. And of course, then I have to explain the difference. And so that's fun. But that's my job. That's what I like my job, because it's to do with people. And this world is a wonderful world. People of all types and all shapes and all sizes and
Yep.
all backgrounds. And it's quite amazing. So then you get a quick content of the book. I want to show you the video aspect. So there's some training there, some resources. You can also use your Q codes if you like. That's if you're all that up to Q code. Not everybody is up to it, but it does the same thing basically. It's another way of doing it. Um, Accessing the document or the video or whatever. These are documentations that can be seen. And then I want to see a video one. I want to show a video one. Now, documentation like spreadsheets, that sort of thing, will be provided on the online program automatically. So you get a template for this, a template for that. Um, Debtors, aging debtors, for instance, that sort of thing. You get a template provided. Where I'm just looking one of those videos, just today when I look for one, there isn't one there.
Hiding.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, when you think of it, with now these are resources. Now I want a video.
There you
Oh,
go.
here we go. So that's a watch, basically. So basically, you can access it through a QR code or through clicking on here, and it connects straight to the internet. Uh, if it doesn't work for some reason, because this has been produced by our provider, it doesn't matter. You can highlight the URL and put this into your search engine, and you'll find it.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. So I gather you're obviously digitally competent
Very,
to
yeah.
some degree. I mean,
Yes.
it's always changing. It's my wife is only just starting on this, and
Yeah.
she's always saying, "What do I do now?" I'm afraid that if I press the wrong button, things will explode. I said, "No, the worst thing that could happen is you lose it, and someone will have to supply it again." But basically, that's the way the learner's guide is now. Um, at the end of each chapter, there's a few questions, and we don't assess those. They're only there for you to think through to see if you're understanding the material. So it's like a quick check on how you're doing. If obviously you've got one that really you stumped, then you need to go back into the
Okay.
material, that chapter, find out what it's on about, and that sort of thing. That keeps you on track, basically. And then, of course, you go straight into the second chapter, and it goes on. Now I could stop sharing this, and if this comes back to life, yeah, and I could show you also the student assessment booklet. Now the student assessment booklet is the Bible of Asqua. it's based. I don't know how you understand the production of programs, but basically, probably 5 years ago, Asqua decided to change the whole way of writing programs, and it's very good, but it's doing it backwards compared to what we used to do. We used to write the program, and then we had to then change a few things to adjust to what Asqua required. Now it's completely different, and I'll show you um, what it does. Basically, they take the competencies that are very specific and detailed, so usually only 3 or 4 competencies for the unit, but you probably have 4 ways of demonstrating the competency on that point. And that's why we need everything recorded so that, like, sometimes in yours, you will have, I think, one session where you need to contact me and we have a Zoom meeting and we discuss one budget that we need to reduce, and then we talk about it. Become so. In other words, we've created a company called the CBSA, which is a virtual company where you're a manager in that company and you're required by email that to do certain functions, like reduce a budget by so much or whatever. And then that's where I come in as the CEO and we discuss it. And basically, you end up redoing the budget, in other words. Very simple. But I'll just show you the. Now we've seen the learner's guide, so I better show you the other. Now, this is the learner's guide here. Don't tell me I've lost it. I have to. I have lost it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, 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 no. Okay, I've lost it. The learner's guide basically, what I wanted to show you is that, and you'll as soon as you download it, you'll see it. Before every um, assessment, and you may have maybe 3 or 4 assessments in the whole book. Before every assessment, there is a form that asks, has anybody helped you for this, to do this, to justify the authenticity of the person who is filling the questionnaire, blah, blah, blah. There's even a question if you need any help. Like we use a lot of students who have English as a second language
Yeah.
from Indonesia. And we find that they will always say yes to everything. And then this one question says, do you need any help with the English composition? And by that we mean that can you write a phrase in English or 3 phrases in English without any help? Most of them would say no. They would be able to tell you, but to write it, it
Very
becomes
different.
difficult.
Yeah.
So that's where we're there to help. That's all. So we don't want to inconvenience them. We are not testing their English ability, although they all got to have at least a 6.1, 6.0 English level. But and people can't start unless they've got that to start with anyhow. So they should be able to read through. But it's there just in case they cannot put a whole paragraph together. So what we do,